Peace, what's going on, y'all? It's your man SoulMan IT. Welcome and welcome back to the channel. So today's video is about the quality between the Canon Rebel T7, which you're viewing me on right now, versus the Panasonic Lumix DMC G7. To cut right to it, I had asked my AI ChatGPT model, I saw on eBay the Panasonic Lumix DMC G7, and I was basically wondering, is this an upgrade compared to the Canon Rebel T7? We're also going to cover in today's, how does this camera look versus how does the Panasonic one look? Also add a caveat, if you plan on using the Panasonic Lumix G7 for streaming versus using this Canon Rebel T7 for streaming, what you'll actually need to do that. I almost cussed out my AI because it doesn't understand nuance and context yet. Everything's being done by the written word, not voice. And we're not talking like every day like that. We're talking almost every day, but we're not talking like that. Saying that because sometimes you ask AI different questions and you're looking for that nuance and context when you've been talking with it for a bit long about should I get this camera that's $400-500, So for this video, I did that work for you so you don't have to do it yourself. So without further ado, let's get to 4 comparisons about both of these cameras from the streaming webcam use, video recording, autofocus and usability, and connectivity. And then at the end of that, we'll take a look at the visual quality of the image between both of them. So up first with our first comparison, the streaming and webcam use, we'll start with the Canon Rebel T7. It does not produce a clean HDMI output. Its limited live view options not supported by Canon's EOS Webcam Utility. I'm actually using right now the EOS Webcam Utility Pro. I also have the EOS Utility, but for whatever reason, I was experiencing some weird 2-second sync delay between the audio and the camera. Like right now, if I were to put this in DaVinci Resolve or whatever video editing program you use, sometimes I might have to move my audio back 1 or 2 seconds. And I've tried to tinker with it and it still will give me this delay, whether I'm just recording or if I'm streaming as well. All in all, it's not designed necessarily to be used as a streaming camera, but you can use it as a streaming camera. Now for the Panasonic G7, it does have a clean HDMI out, but you have to have a micro HDMI. That is important. You cannot use the USB data cord like you can with the Canon Rebel T7 to transfer the video and the audio signal going across. For whatever reason, it just does not work with Panasonic's Lumix Tether software. Basically, they say it's too old, but it does work well streaming when paired with a capture card like Elgato's HD60S, the Camlink, etc. So the G7 is indeed more usable than the T7 for streaming, but not in the direct USB plug and play way. Number 2, the Canon T7 records only up to 1080p at 30 frames per second, and there is no 4K option. The Panasonic G7, however, records 4K up to 30 frames per second and 1080p at 60 frames per second. Big difference there. Better video features overall, focus peaking, zebras, etc. Number 3, autofocus and usability. The Canon T7's autofocus is slow and basic. I can attest to that. I am using the manual focus right now, and I basically leave my camera in the position on the tripod that it's in now, and this is where I sit in my office whenever I'm doing my streaming or recording, because the autofocus, it's just it feels like it's overly sensitive, and it just drives me crazy. It's more geared towards still photography beginners or those who just don't want to mess with the autofocus all like that. The Panasonic G7, however, has faster contrast detect autofocus in the video, and the touchscreen on it is very streaming friendly. Number 4, connectivity. The Canon T7 has limited ports, no mic input, and then weaker for hybrid use like how we use here for everyday streaming or recording. The Panasonic G7 does have mic input, clean HDMI, and Wi-Fi photo transfer. All right, so let's compare the visual quality now of the Canon Rebel T7, which you're viewing me on now, mixed with right here, the G7. All right, and here's how the picture quality looks with the G7. As you can tell here, it's definitely got smoother video. I'm watching it right now on the screen via OBS, where, you know, me doing my dance moves and whatnot. Please don't make fun of me, even though you're gonna make fun of me, whatever. But you can see, like, there's more fluid movement that's going on, right? This is recording at 60 FPS versus with the T7 that's recording at 30 FPS. So major difference in terms of how the quality looks. This actually makes me feel like I am moving in the right direction professionally with the quality that you need to stand out. So this was definitely a good cop, a good buy. Let's go. So there you have it, y'all. The 4 areas that we covered today: streaming and webcam use, video recording, autofocus and usability, and connectivity. Now, I think some added things to go over if you're planning on using either of these cameras for streaming. You know, the Canon Rebel T7, for me, that was a big step up from going from a webcam to, you know, a DSLR mirrorless camera that could record in HD and just, you know, made me look cinematic and like it was a movie, right? Then on this side here, using now the Panasonic G7, this looks way cleaner, Still get that cinematic look, it looks like. And I do have different color lightings. This one has a more regular color lighting versus on the Rebel T7, I had more of like a warmer one. So it made everything look a bit more, you know, brown, red, things like that, which is still cool, made for good coloring. But I think it is important to note, in order for you to use the Canon Rebel T7 as a webcam for streaming and recording on OBS or whatever you're using as your software, you do need to have that data cable. You can purchase those. I'll put the links down below where you can get those online. You can get them on Amazon. That's where I got my camera cables from. Now, even though with the write-up that my AI helped me with, where it says there is no clean HDMI for the Canon Rebel T7, there is, however, a slot or a port rather for it doesn't look like a micro HDMI. I could be wrong on that as far as like what it's actually called, but when you type in micro HDMI, you get the cord that I just bought for the Panasonic G7 and not the one that would fit for the Canon Rebel T7. So if you are trying to get that HDMI cord just to see if it works, I would say, you know, type in HDMI cord for Canon Rebel T7. So you're getting something that's specific to the model of the camera that you have, and you're not getting something that, you know, because I just cussed my AI out because it was telling me to buy this. I bought that and it didn't work, and you had to keep giving it more, you know, clarity and information. So whether you're doing a Google search or you're doing having your AI search for you, there's still room for error that could be made. And for me, I am not a camera connoisseur. I am not an expert in any of this. I'm learning a lot of this on the fly, and it is not cheap, right? So I don't want y'all wasting money and time and just, you know, getting the wrong things just for trial and error when, like, you know, we're up against the clock here and we only got so much funds in our wallet, feel me? But a surefire way I know that you can stream with this is the USB data cable for the Canon Rebel T7, and then just get the EOS Webcam Utility Pro software on Canon's website. You can also use the EOS Utility. I would prefer, it's probably better if you get the Webcam Utility Pro, just because it matches up way better with your audio if you're using a microphone like how I'm using. I'm using a condenser microphone with phantom power hooked up to the mono G1 Neo mixer board. If you're going to use the Panasonic Lumix G7 DMC G7 camera that you're watching me on right now, you can get this kind of quality here by getting a HDMI, micro HDMI cord. You can hook that directly into the computer if your computer allows it, into its display graphics adapter. You can get a video capture card. So I am using a standard, I think it was like 11 bucks on Amazon. It's USB on one end and HDMI on the other end. Or you can get a capture card like this bad boy right here. This is my first capture card that I ever got a few years ago. HD60S, the Elgato. Right now I'm on the HD 60X, I believe is what that one is. But this one here will work as well. And you'll just, plug the HDMI into this port there, and the other end will go to your USB, and, same premise as just the cable itself. All different options for you to be able to get the video that you are looking for, then you'll be able to stream or record like how you see me recording here. I am recording externally. From what I understand, you cannot record internally on the Panasonic Lumix G7. So that's just something to note. These are now deemed as older cameras. The Panasonic Lumix DMC G7, the one you're watching me on now, that was released on May 18th, 2015. So this camera is 10 years old, and the Canon Rebel T7 that I have was released back in March 2018. So that one there is 7 years old. It's kind of interesting that the camera that's 10 years older produces a better quality of video versus the Canon Rebel T7 does not. So that's just something that just came to mind. I'm hoping this video helped y'all out. If there's any questions that y'all have, I'm more than happy to answer those. Leave those down in the comments below. If you like today's video, make sure you leave a like on down below. And if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more things like this here, you want me to answer, questions around DIY streaming and recording. I record all of my music. I've recorded well over 10 to 15 solo projects and released them since 2008. I was one of the top 25 underground hip hop artists of 2015. I am in the Pittsburgh Hip Hop Hall of Fame, or Wall of Fame. I don't really talk too much about my accolades and what I've done and what I am accomplishing and what I have accomplished and what I'm setting out to accomplish. I don't know what that is. I'm trying to do more of that so folks are aware of what I do and what I can bring to the table. But yeah, if there's anything that I can do to help my fellow musicians, music artists, creatives in general out there, just let me know. Hit me down in the comments, y'all. And on that note, I thank y'all for watching. Hopefully, again, this was helpful. Till next time, y'all, Lord willing, it's your man, SoulMan IT. I'm out to y'all. Peace.